girl Miracle Sims, and you're watching God, Sex, and Love. Tonight, I'm going to be chatting with a familiar gentleman. You may recognize Mr. Orpheus Black from an episode last year, or he's back to set the record straight on some things. So, if you are ready for this conversation, then stay tuned. That's Here I am with the myth, the legend, the Orpheus Black, y'all. The Orpheus Black.
I like that intro. I can't sit up no taller.
I'm sorry. What was that?
I can't sit up no taller. I was like the man, the myth. I was like sitting up for that. Yeah, that's me right there.
There you go. There you go. I want to say you might be, aside from perhaps some of the panel, you might be maybe like the first guest that has come back. So welcome back, man.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I ain't scared.
Good, good. I'm glad. I'm glad you got scared. I am glad. The interesting thing is, I mean, well, so obviously, yes, you've been on the show before. I did share with you. I only got a little bit of feedback about your episode, but one was from my mom, and she seems to be a fan. In regards to, she's like, oh yeah, I want to book him to come and talk to the couples and blah blah blah. I don't want his show stuff though. That show stuff he was talking about, probably not that part. But if you
want, I love it. I love it.
I was like, yeah, it's probably going to be a modified situation, but
I do it all. You want just the talk? I got just the talk. You want the shadow puppets or whatever? I got whatever you want to come out to show me. I got you, man.
Listen, look, Orpheus Black. We don't know what we gonna get. We don't know. And and I guess that's part of because I know we talked actually. I want to say. What was before? It still was before your episode came out, right? Wasn't
it? Yeah.
Because just the mere mention of you being on the show, just the mere promotion, led to just a little bit of controversy. And I did come chit chat with you about it, and whatnot. And we said that we would talk again. Now, obviously, it's been months and everything like that. But like I said, glad to have you back. I'm glad you're willing to talk about it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm here. You know what? I'm here, and I'm gonna be the best self that I could possibly be at this moment in time. Because I don't shy away from questions because the root word of question is quest, right? And I'm always up for the journey, right? I'm not here to say one person's wrong or one person is right or this is the one true way or not. I just want to go on a quest. You know what I mean? And explore the question, and maybe I'll discover something new about me or my teachers or my thoughts or ideas, or maybe they will. So for me, it's always a great opportunity to step into that role.
Good. Well, like I said, I'm glad to have you back, man. We could just kind of chit chat and get to know. I mean, it's been a while. We all in 2022 now. That was back in 2021. So I mean, how you doing? How are you and everything?
Man, business has been good. Business is good. I'm going through a little heartbreak because I'm breaking up with one of my partners. Oh, it hurts, but it's okay. I'm gonna recover. So yeah, I gotta go through that healing process just like everybody else, Yeah. And a part of the aspects that people don't realize about poly They always think about, oh, I get to have more than one girlfriend or more than one man, but you also get more than one heartbreak. You know what I mean? The more people you have means the more potentiality for heartbreak. And so for me, it's always important to let people know that, yeah, while it's fun to have multiple partners and do all the things that you can do and all these joyous occasions, when it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And you may have to, experience the heartache associated with breakup and loss. Times two.
I mean, well, obviously, we gonna differ opinion in regards to some things, and but at the same time,
wait, tell us the difference opinion. Well, you can't just say that and not say what the opinion difference is. Come on.
I mean, well, maybe if you didn't have the multiple partners, then maybe you wouldn't have the multiple heartbreak. I'm just throwing it out there now.
You know what? That's fair. That is absolutely fair. And I think that you're probably representational of the people who are going to be the bulk of the people who are going to watch your show, right? And let me say this: I've been with my wife 26 years, right? And thus far, we haven't broke up, right? But I've been with some of my partners longer than most of the people that I know they're monogamous. I know people who've been married, gotten divorced, got married again, and gotten divorced again. Yet and still, I have a 15-year relationship with one of my partners, an 8-year relationship with one of my partners, a 30-plus year relationship with one of my partners. So I think the track record says something different, that that maybe this is a viable alternative, to what some other people may be experiencing as monopoly, not monogamy. Because a lot of people think that they're in a monogamous relationship and they're in a monopolistic relationship, right? And this is how I define a monopolistic relationship, which is a relationship where one person gets to dictate terms as to how you satiate your desires. They're like, if I'm not going to do it, then you don't get to have it. If I'm not going to do it for you, you don't get to have it. That's what, when Walmart comes in and drives out all the other competition in your neighborhood, right? If Walmart don't have it, you don't get to get it. That's a monopoly. Well, we do the same thing in relationships, right? And so what I try to do is I try to teach my clients to understand what monogamy truly is in the oldest sense of the word, right? So when you open up your Encyclopedia Britannica and you look at an open relationship is one that is open to making mutually beneficial changes to the relationship. Doesn't mean that you will do it. It just means you're open to talking about it. Because sometimes people just need to be able to hear what the problem is so that they can fix it. Right? So when a person says we need to move out of this monopoly into an open relationship where we can talk about the problems that we have, right? We need to talk about those issues that are coming up for us. As long as we can talk about it and pitch out a couple things, try a couple of things, we're in an open space. Now, monogamy, again, the oldest term for monogamy is an agreement between two parties, right? As long as you stay within the agreement, it's monogamous, right? That's the oldest term that I can find in any source, right? It comes from when two families used to meet and they would hook two people up. Those families would make agreements and then people would get married under that agreement. Then they started cutting out the families. There was only two people that made the agreement. But as long as you stayed within the parameters of that agreement, whatever that agreement was, it's considered monogamy. Right?
I would pay to start defining the word.
It's okay.
But
it's okay.
I don't know, you know what I'm saying? But it's funny though, because one of my first thoughts just now was like, people definitely don't think of what you just said when they hear open relationship. They don't think of that.
They don't. What they think of is poly, they think of swinging, and they think of swapping. Right? But if open relationship was poly, then it would be called poly. If open relationship was swapping or swinging, it would be called swapping or swinging. If it was no strings attached, it would be called no strings attached, but this is called open. You know what I mean? So A lot of people have a lot of bad definitions about what something is, and society can get a hold of it and change the parameters. It becomes an umbrella term for non-monogamy, but that's not true. It means that you are open. You went from this one way of being, which says, if I'm not giving you the type of sex that you want, tough, you stuck. You stuck in this relationship. You can't go outside, but you can't get it nowhere else. And I'm not doing it. To a relationship where I'm open to talking about the problems that we may be experiencing in a relationship. We're moving into an open space of open dialogue, open communication, and opening the possibilities and parameters for where this is going. It does not mean that we have to do any of it. It just means we're open to talking about it. And from there, we can choose where we're going next. But if you can't prioritize the wants, needs, and desires of your partner, right? Then what kind of relationship do we have anyway? If you can't put that other person above yourself, above your own self-interest, above your own comfort, what type of relationship are we in? Now, I'm not saying that person should be in a position where they're completely sacrificing all the time and not receiving anything back. But when both people say, my focus is taking care of you and your focus is taking care of me, then we're both taken care of. But when I'm protecting me and you're protecting me, it's a lopsided deal.
Well, now to me, that just sounds like what a relationship is supposed to be.
Not for me. Not for me. I don't want no lopsided deals.
No, not that part. I'm talking about what you were saying before you said the lopsided deal part.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Communicate openly and come into agreements. Not like, to me, that's just that's just a relationship. Like, I don't know if I'm.
But so many people are so caught up in their trauma. And this is one of the reasons why I love for people to get outside of their English language. They really should explore different languages and pick up words that have other meanings that maybe are more fit more into what you're talking about, or conveys what you want to say better than English, because the limit of your human experience is the limits of your vocabulary. Right? That was Ludwig Wittgenhauer, right? So for me, there's a word called devasa, D-V-E-S-A, in Sanskrit. It's a Buddhist term. And basically what it means is, I've linked this situation to a past trauma, right? And because it looks like, feels like, sounds like that thing, I'm going to treat it the same way. Because that dude cheated on me when he said this. That dude went outside of our agreement when he said that. And so my husband can't do any of those things because it looks too much like that. I'm going to respond, even though he's giving me no reason to respond that way. Because it feels like that. In Egyptian comedics, we have a saying too. They say a man bit by a coil of rope, a man bit by a snake will fear a coil of rope. Right? He's going to treat that coil of rope just like he should have treated that snake. Sometimes we get into a position where we're like, my husband's saying this, but I'm gonna treat him the way I should have treated that other dude. And so we're in a monopoly at that point. We're in a monopoly because I'm not giving him no airplay, no conversation, no nothing, with his own feelings, his own desires. And everyone has a genetic right, a God-given right to pleasure. Pleasure is your birthright. It is, right? And so that person should be able to ask for what they want. At least ask. At least be entertained in conversation. It does not mean that you have to do anything, but they should be encouraged to use their voice. And when I do my classes, I know I'm going on a tangent because it's something that's very close to my heart. I do these classes with men about exploring their no, because the one word that is the hardest for men to say is no. What they will do is they will flex, they will become intimidating, they will raise their voice. They'll say everything but no, hoping that you will just stop asking as opposed to saying no. The next hardest thing for them to do is actually ask for what they want, because this society makes us infantilize women. I have to go, oh, sweetheart, sugar bear, sweetie, sugar puff, you think it'd be possible if, we shouldn't have to do that. We shouldn't have to dumb it down because it's a powerful, strong Black woman at that, who's capable of managing her own feelings, capable of loving you in the way that you need to be loved. And she should know that if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. So she's willing to hear what you have to say. Just speak from your heart, Black man. I'm gonna pause right there because I get emotional about that one.
I see. I mean, this sounds very specific, like like on some
it's what I do on a regular basis.
No, I'm saying like a specific situation that you're talking about. It's okay. I understand. You just, you're saying it
ain't a specific one to me right now.
Just had a little heartbreak, understand, and then and I know I came at your lifestyle.
No, don't feel like that.
But so,
no, don't feel like that.
No, and then I know I'm finna come at you some more because I got all the stuff to tell you about what had happened with your name. So you probably got all the defenses up right now.
No, I'm not defensive at all. You know what? I'm passionate. You know what? I want don't see. I get this on the white shows, man. Where the brother be speaking for passion, they be like, "Ooh, I hit a button."
No, you know what it is? First of all. I knew you was gonna be trouble that first conversation we had. Like I was like, this is. I mean, that's what we said it in the last show. I was like, I'm gonna be laughing this whole show. Like you done got silly miracle out. Like you. I mean, and so yeah. So I already be over here. I'm going in on your personally. On your personal situation.
Nah, you know what? Again, I'm not. I just want to know. I just want people to know it's something I'm passionate about because I love to. I personally live the lifestyle that I want to. You know what I mean? Like I ask for everything I want. I don't close mouth, don't get fed. What my grandmama say. So I've been asking for what I want for a long time. But I have a lot of friends who don't. And to me, a dominant man, which is what I profess to be, only accepts what he wants. He don't take what he can get. And so for me, that's a very different way of being. So for me, I don't particularly have this issue because I'm comfortable with somebody saying, I don't want to do that for you. And I'm like, okay, well, our dynamic is going to have to change because this is a need, not a want. I'm comfortable with that. So but that's my personal thing,
Yeah. I mean, I guess again, for me, maybe I haven't experienced that per se. You know what I mean? A man having an issue saying no. Like I'm trying to think. Like just the other day, I asked my husband something, and he straight up like no. It was like oh, okay. So I don't know. Like, but obviously, again, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like it's a specific something's on your mind here, but it's okay. He's like, maybe you just
saying nothing else. Are you saying
somebody. I don't know. Like he was just coaching.
Are you saying nothing else? I ain't saying nothing else. I ain't saying nothing else.
No, what? You can say whatever you want to say.
Now I'm defensive.
Let's get to what we supposed to talk about then. How about that?
Fine. How about that? Let's do it. You gonna call me defensive on that too?
Hey, well. All right, let's go get into it. Look, for the first time on GSL, the talk show, I got to pull out some notes.
There you go.
You missed the dramatic. See, you missed the dramatic. I just did a dramatic thing.
Oh, I missed the dramatic. I'm sorry.
You ain't even looking at me. I feel like you said, what are you doing?
No, my radio came on. I didn't want the music playing while we was talking.
He always trying to set some type of mood. What is happening, y'all? What is going on?
I sure do.
Sir.
I sure do. I'm like most Black people. I need a little music in the background to feel loose.
Lord.
Some Cavassier, a little Cavassier, and some Teddy Pendergrass to make this moment real special.
Lord. You know what? I feel like you only do this to me. Like I feel like you and that's my issue right now.
You know what? You're right. I will accurately articulate my position on any of these questions that you have to ask.
I can't do the moment is gone. I can't do my dramatic reveal of my notes that I have to have.
Right. You got it. I'm sorry. I'm back.
Whatever. Just,
Back.
anywho. So yeah, so basically, like I was telling you, yeah, promoting your episode led to an individual reaching out to me in concern. They were in concern of now there's a lot of things. There's a lot of things unpacked with the situation. So this is someone that followed me after I started. I interviewed a young lady who's a human trafficking survivor last year. I've interviewed her a couple of times now. And she has gained this following of people since, over the past year or so. And so they're a bit of an army, right? I mean, you know how a certain individual has a hive. Well, I guess you would consider it to be similar in a similar fashion. So they came for me when I first interviewed her. And I'm a part of the group to a certain extent as well, but they kind of came for me because I guess they, found flaws in my past, right? Which were things like when I was working I was working at this place, this like room escape place, and I portrayed a zombie, and I had a picture of me in character, and they were like, "She's part of the I'm like, this was like in 2017, me playing a zombie. I'm an actor. Like, there's multiple type of character pictures, but obviously to them, it was kind of, it must have come across as if I can't remember the exact words they said, but they came at me for that. They came after my husband and all these different things. And then I just kind of had to defend myself because it was kind of crazy because I was getting it on two ends at that time. I was getting it from them, and then I was getting it from people that don't believe the lady, saying that I shouldn't have interviewed her and all this. And so it's like getting caught in between these two groups of mad people. So I say that to say that when the individual reached out to me about you, I just again tried to answer in the best way, calmly as I could, to not get offended because the person had questions. Even though some of the questions kind of came from the aspect of like, well, why are you interviewing him as a Christian and all these things? And my thing is, and I explained to the person, at the end of the day, this show is called God, Sex, and Love, and you were referred to me by another person who would be considered a sex guru or expert or something like that. And so, and you are somebody that I'm sure people would hire to get some type of assistance or whatever the case is in their relationships, whatever the case is. So that's why I interviewed you, because I have open and honest discussions with anybody that's willing to come on the show, even if we have different beliefs and all that type of thing. So again, so there was other questions and whatnot that was asked specifically to me that I feel like I was able to address, and I think the person understood. However, there were questions that honestly I couldn't answer, and only you could probably answer. And so that I did reach out to you around that time, as we just said a moment ago. And you did agree to come back. And so now that you're here, I do have a couple of questions, on the behalf of the individuals and whatnot. Now, without going too deep into this person, even though they shared some details of things that they have been through personally, obviously, I guess they are a bit of a survivor as well as the lady was I already told you about. So for me, as the person was explaining to me their point of view, I did, let them know that, okay, I understand, because honestly, from what you're saying, your point of view of sex in general, regardless of if any other aspect, let's not even talk about the rest of the stuff, but just sex in general is going to be a different perspective for you as somebody that has gone through something traumatically because of sex or whatever case, or sex was used against you, in that way. So obviously any aspect of sex is probably going to be seen in a negative light because of your experience, so again, without going into all the details that she shared, whatever, but I guess, again, trying to make me, I guess, help me to understand like where she was coming from in regards to, because so I guess some of the things that you mentioned, or some of the things on your site that you do or teach or whatever the case is, are things that was used against her in trafficking situations and beyond. Let's just say it like that. So so one of the questions was when it comes to BDSM, which I believe we did talk about a little bit last time, but if not,
Okay.
could you just, before we even ask the question, could you just remind us of BDSM? Could you remind us what that is, just in case?
Yeah, BDSM stands for bond. First of all, I want to say that I have no idea who this person is or what their situation is.
Right.
And I am sorry that something like that happened to them.
Mhm.
Right. You know, what we do is not that. And it should never happen to anyone. And if her consent was violated in any way, shape, form, or fashion, you know, she has every right to speak out and and champion her cause in any way, shape, form, or fashion that she feels comfortable with. I get that 100%. What I'm speaking to is another way of people loving differently and expressing themselves differently. So BDSM specifically refers to bondage, discipline, sadomasochism. So bondage, discipline, sadomasochism. And it is a form of kink, which is the umbrella term. Kink is really what we're talking about when people kind of start speaking about what we do. Kink is defined as any deviation from what you feel is normal sexual behavior. Okay? Any deviation from what you feel is normal sexual behavior. The reason it's defined in this way is because in the same way we know that this is a deviation, this is away from the norm, that we also know what the norm is. And believe me, you knew what normal sexual behavior was before someone even talked to you about it. It's part of the cultural unconscious in America, specifically Christian places like boy, girl, missionary, maybe some other things. We already have an idea as to what normal sexual behavior is. That means we also have an idea of what not normal sexual expression is, right? And so that for me is what we're talking about. Now, normally what I like to do, and can we do an exercise? I won't do the exercise with you because you're on the God, Sex, and Love podcast, but maybe some people who are watching that would like to do the same thing, right? So here's a simple exercise. Take a piece of paper, divide it down the middle, right? North to south, and then another one east to west. You should have 4 quadrants. In the upper left-hand corner, just write normal sexual behavior, and then write down all the things that you think are normal sexual behavior. Kissing, hand-holding, top, bottom, boy, girl, whatever it is. Write as much of that as you can. Then, once you have that all written down, move over a column, your upper right-hand corner, and say, what do I do that's not on that list? What do I already do that's not considered normal, quote unquote, sexual behavior? We all have something. That's your kink. We all do it. We're just not supposed to talk about it. We're not supposed to discuss it. We're supposed to keep it shoved down deep inside. And maybe that fits a certain narrative for Christians or whatever, or Buddhists or whoever it is, right? But it's not good for you from a psychological and self standpoint. So you can call it whatever you want, but at the end of the day, we know what normal is and we know what we do. And it's called normal sexual expression, normal self-expression, or kink, right? BDSM happens to be one of those versions of kink. Some people like being tied up, tied to the headboard. Some people want to be spanked, disciplined, right? Some people sexualize the either emotional or physical intense sensations that someone else is receiving. Some people sexualize the rougher aspects or the more extreme sensations done to them, masochism, right? So depending on how you want to look at it, we all kind of have this exploration. It manifests different for each and every person. That's why it's hard to kind of see your kink versus their kink. But once you have a barometer and say what the norm is, you can see what that is. How's that?
Okay. I mean, it's a good explanation. I mean, I'm like, well, what the other 2 corners for on the paper? But this one.
Oh, yeah. I can do it if you want. You let me know. I don't mind helping them out. You want me to finish it?
What is that?
Yeah. So bottom left-hand corner, here's what I would say. Write out the fantasy that you're too ashamed to say that you would like to do with someone. Right? The thing that you don't really have words for, it only pops up in the middle of your mind and late at night or when you're with yourself, the thoughts that come up, write it down. Just write it down. You don't have to show it to anyone, right? The thing that you want to do, but too ashamed to say you like to do or you want to engage in. The bottom right-hand corner, the next one, the next empty space, what I'd like you to write down is why you're not engaging in the behavior that you want to. What is the reason as to why you're not doing the thing you're too ashamed to say you like to do? What is coming up for you? What is stopping you? Right? So for me, those are the things that are really, really important because you can do the same thing with what is your dream job? What are you too scared to say you want to pursue? What are you too ashamed to say you're good at and don't know how to monetize or don't want to monetize? And why are you not following? It could be anything. We're just speaking to the shadow aspect of the self, right? And here's the best part of it. I asked this question because there's 4 aspects of whole integration: language, attire, mannerisms, and total presentation. If something's really a part of you, like being a Black woman, you know how to talk about being a Black woman, you know how to dress like being a Black woman, you know how to wear that attitude, you know how to wear that swag, you know how to present yourself as a Black woman. Your body language is universally specific to a certain archetype of Black woman. That means you have full integration around that. But let's start talking about aspects of sex. We don't know how to talk about it. That means it's not integrated. We don't know how to ask for it. It means it's not integrated, right? We don't know how to respond to no about it. It means it's not integrated. And if language is only 5% of the overall communication and body language is 35, well, guess what? You don't even have the body language to help convey what you want to say. So when we start talking about these things, you're learning on the fly language and body language. You're making it up. That's why we feel awkward talking about these things. You'd be like, I'm so embarrassed and all this, because you don't even have the body language to help support you. Right? You definitely don't know how to wear it like authentically. Right? And you definitely don't have the ability to present it to somebody in a way that they can understand and it represents exactly what you want to say. Right? So I'm going to pause right there, but those are the reasons why I asked the question. That's what BDSM is, and that's what kink is.
All right. All right. Well,
thank you for letting me be thorough.
Say what now?
Thank you for letting me be thorough.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I mean, just in case we don't know what it is, somebody might come across, they're like, oh, what they're talking about, but I don't know exactly what it is. They don't have to pause, and go find it. You just, I mean, y'all still go to find it and make sure you told y'all the right thing. You never know.
Right. Exactly.
It's hard to see your Bible's moments, right? Because you check after what they said, right?
Somebody waving their Bible right now. Yeah, somebody waving their Bible like rebuking me right now.
Make sure. Okay, so it's more of a statement, but I guess you could say your reply. So
now
BDSM,
what?
I'm sorry?
You said there's a statement that I'm what?
No, I said this is more of a statement, so I guess you could just give your reply. It's not necessarily a question. So this is more of a statement. BDSM is not part of healthy sexuality, and it can cause mental and physical harm.
Okay. I would beg to differ on that. There's a GSM-5, which is the diagnostic that every psychologist uses, would say different specifically. There's no psychological profile that has proven that ever. In fact, there's been studies that say actually people who engage in BDSM, specifically kink, are actually healthier emotionally than anyone else because they're speaking to their desires. They're keeping less inside. They're expressing themselves in ways that other people can't, and they're having open conversations about consent. Whereas other people are just assuming, right? And again, if we're talking about integration, right, healthy integration, language being a part of it, the fact that we have more language as a subculture than the mainstream has about this means that we tend to be healthier psychologically, right? Because we talk about these things. We openly discuss these things. We are sharing who we are authentically. We are hiding less, right? Because what you keep inside is really the pressure building, and eventually it just comes up, and it's called sublimation, where something happens and it's outside of our control. It's so far ahead of us that we can't catch up. It's already happened. So we sublimate less than other people because we're more authentic, more in tune with who we are in the realms of sex and sexuality. Now, can someone do an act that could be linked to BDSM and harm somebody? Yes. What does that mean? I have latent desires that I'm not expressing with my partner, that I want to do with my partner. I'm scared to say it, and so I'm just going to try it. Right? This is how most people get spanked for the first time. They're having sex, and then the guy goes, and then looks to see if there's a reaction. Oh, she didn't react? Okay, this is cool. Then I'll just keep going. No conversation. Lots of people have experienced that, as opposed to sitting down and say, hey, you know what? I really like your backside. I really feel a calling to like spank you. Are you into that? Does that sound like something you want to do? And because they're worried about, nah, you some kind of freak. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I'd love to get consent around this. You can just say that you're not into it, right? So in that equation, who's really got the problem? The person who's asking for what they want, right? Or the person who is, just rejecting out of reflex, out of fear of what they're going to look like, or what that's going to make them, right? Of course, they could just not want to do it. That's great. Or not want to do it with them. That's great too. But they don't have to use that language or be so attitudey. But that's what most people run into in my experience. And so they shove it down when they get that type of reflex. And then they just let it go. It's better to just ask permission, ask for forgiveness than ask for permission. That is a saying in our culture. Right? So for me, I would say that statement is not accurate because there's no facts that support it, and just those colloquial narratives that I just gave you should help people understand that is not true.
Alrighty. And again, I'm sure, like the whole conversation, of course, from the perspective of someone that is a survivor, I'm sure, perhaps, mental, physical harm did happen. If this was not something that you agreed to, this, if it's something like you just said, if this was just something that was just done without your consent or something like that, then I can understand perhaps where this person is coming from with the statement that they said. But I appreciate you breaking down, your perspective of that as well.
And from the perspective of a survivor, let me give you this too, because here's another thing that we understand in kink that most mainstream we call them vanilla people who don't examine the sexual behaviors that they're already on, they just take it for granted. They just like, that's what boys and girls do, right? So Max Weber actually is a guy who helped build the political narrative that we use in America, like it or not, right? But he says that power is the ability to act in accordance with one's will and desire, okay? So there are two violations that can happen within this, especially with regards to women, right? One, the easiest way to disempower a woman is to convince her that she shouldn't ask for what she desires, she shouldn't desire, or she shouldn't want it, right? And punish them by saying, you're too needy, you want too much, I can't believe you want that, oh my God, like, that's too much. You should just take what I give you. You should only want what I want you to have, right? Because there's only two aspects of power, right? Desire and will, okay? Now, if you look at will as ability or agency, if I take away your ability to defend yourself verbally, physically, or emotionally, well, guess what? I've created a power imbalance and I've created an opportunity to victimize you, right? You cannot give away your agency or your desire if you want to have a healthy relationship to personal power. Okay, so we understand that within the powers and parameters of negotiation before we have sex, because we talk about this before we do anything, I want to make sure that you have desire. Do you want to do this? What do you want to do? When do you want to do it? Right? And here's a safe word so I can know when you want to stop. Right? The other thing is there any reason why you couldn't say your safe word? Is there any reason why you feel you couldn't defend yourself using your words or your mouth with regards to me? So we can take that in account too. Now we can begin. Go ahead.
No, well, with me, I feel like it's two different conversations. You know, I feel like, again, what this person is talking about and then what you're talking about, it's two different conversations because, you know, obviously what you're talking about, I could clearly see this type of thing being expressed in some type of relationship where, you know, there's this communication, there's all of this, but traffic person or somebody that's been taken against their will to do whatever is a different thing because obviously, you know, no one's communicating at all with you about like what you want in the scenario, you know.
Because that's the removal of desire and the removal of will.
Yeah.
And that's why I shaped it in that way. That's why it's important for people to understand that in those situations, people saying you can't go anywhere you want. You don't have agency. You don't have the ability to defend yourself. You don't have a right to even say anything, and you can't go with your desire. I don't care what you want.
Yeah.
Right? That sets the precedent of taking away a person's power so they have no ability. It's like taking all the batteries out of a robot. It has no power. It can't move. And that is a part of the trauma, right? And this is one of the reasons why in Kink, we encourage a person to use their voice, use their words. We go over the thing where we say, can you tell me? No. Can you say your safe word? Right. Is there any reasons why you think you couldn't? No. Okay, then let's start talking about what we're going to do. Like I've done, I've done these things. We're trying to step into that place to meet you halfway. Right? That's why Kink is different from just what we do. It's different from what you see in the movies and see in the TV. That's sensationalism. That's not what really people, just like when you see porn, that's not what everybody's doing in their bedroom. Okay, maybe you.
Nah, I mean, well, now see that porn situation, other, you know, obviously, yeah, there's, you don't watch GSL, do you?
No.
Yeah, but you porn talks and whatnot, and that's a whole other thing too, because from my understanding, that's, anyway.
It's sensationalism, because that's what gets attention. That's what gets the clicks. That's what gets the views. It's sensationalism. Seeing a woman bullwhipped on hogtied.com, that's what gets people to click. But that's not what that woman's doing in her bedroom. One of my partners is a porn star. I was in the adult business. I was in kink business. One of my partners was, you know, one of the most hardcore bottoms on porn, right? That's not what we did in the bedroom. That's what she do for work. You feel what I'm saying? You know, a stuntman don't start rolling cars on the thing and come home and start rolling cars. You know what I mean? Like that's not what happens. So I'm sorry, I had to put that out there. It's absurd, but it's true.
Good, you good. Well, here's another statement then.
Okay.
So the statement is that you, Mr. Orpheus, are helping to normalize rape and torture by promoting BDSM.
I'm helping to normalize that. I would love to ask that person, what is it that specifically I am doing that is showing that? You know, it's funny because I'm actually considered one of the most romantic. That's why I get so much attention, because I give them a different spin. But let's just address the question that I'm helping them normalize this behavior. That is a crime in every state around the world. You know what I mean? Like, it's a crime. This is not an art. This is not something you teach someone to do. Anybody could do it if they had the desire or drive to. So that's not what I do. What I do is help people to safely express themselves in a consensual adult relationship that is mutually beneficial. So some people, kink is like a flavor, and some people have a taste for this and some people don't. Some people have a taste for that and some people don't. But my thing is healthy self-expression in a container that is mutually beneficial and safe for everyone. Now, what one person looks at, because their view has been altered as a result of how they've been treated by another human being, I can't shape that. And for them, their perspective of whatever it is valid, and whatever they feel good with, that's them, because that's what they need to feel safe. And again, a person bit by a snake will fear a coil of rope, right? That's how they're going to respond to anything that looks like that. And I understand that. And I don't want to try and rationalize it to those people, but to the people who are not, to the people who are looking to express, to the people who are wanting more, helping them to find safe avenues for safe and healthy sexual expression is really important to me. Those are the people that I'm talking to. I'm not trying to speak to those who are in the throes of this thing right now, the turmoil and the heartache and the pain right now. I'm not looking for that. They need a whole lot, something different, which is love and kindness and attention, and someone to say, I hear you and I believe you. And if they're ever ready to move out of that place and they need another conduit by which they explore safely, we can do that. I'm going to give you an idea. I did a scene, which is what we call a demonstration of bondage, whatever. And the woman said, I wanted you to know that I was triggered by your scene. I said, what part triggered you? He said, how you treated her with care and compassion and kindness. I didn't know that that was something that we're supposed to do, because every interaction I've had has been against my will. Every interaction I've had has been forced. I've never had consensual sex, nor have I ever had somebody touch me, lovingly and caringly, or ask me if I was happy or satiated, right? So I said, so what would you like to experience with me? Kindness, compassion, tenderness, care. For her, that was the kink. She had a different idea of what normal was. So this was hard for her to ask for. It was difficult. And I still had to create a safe space for her, because too much tenderness might be too much for her. We don't know what too much is for her, right? I still had to give her a safe word, because I don't know what language of saying, oh, you're beautiful, you're amazing, thank you for sharing yourself with me, thank you for being here. All that gratitude may make her feel uncomfortable, and she needs to use her safe word, right? I've had talk therapy sessions where just doing the safe word negotiation brought a person to tears, because no one had ever asked them, if they said stop, what would you like them to do? Right? So when I do a safe word conversation, I go, what is your safe word? They may say red. I said, when you say red, what would you like for me to do? And she's like, I never had anybody ask me that before. Like, can we just stop right now? Because now I'm realizing that no one has ever asked me what they should do if I want them to stop. So when we say kink, we say any deviation from what they feel is normal sexual behavior, right? So that's my thought.
All right.
Wait, you got some thoughts on that one?
I mean, well, okay, well, what came to my mind, it was a question, I guess, is like, it seems like it's, or maybe it's a statement question, I don't know. It seems like you're out here doing all this giving, right? And I guess I'm wondering, like, how is that? Not just say how is that for you, but like, it seems like you're giving a lot of yourself to people. And I guess I wonder, like, how are you? Like, because I mean, I know you just, I know you said you're talking about your relationship, and I know you just, you also mentioned that you're brokenhearted with the one of the situations, whatnot. But I mean, like, how? I guess I'm what. I guess I asked the question. Did I ask? Just stop at how are you? Let's just stop there. Like
But
how
you
are
know
you?
what? Thank you for asking me that, because nobody ever asked me a question.
Really?
Yeah, nobody ever asked me that question. Thank you. I am doing pretty good. All things considered, I'm blessed. And to use the language of you and your show, I feel like my calling is to help people come to terms with the things that they've been shamed about, the things that they suppress. And it's a cross to bear. I say, take that off your shoulders, give it to me. I'll help you walk with it for a while. Take that pressure off and just talk to me. Right? Let's just be in this space. So much of what I do is conversational. So much of what I do is just being another human with another human being, expressing my humanity. A lot of people, what people think is this is sex and this is penetration and this is this, that, and the other. That's probably 10% of what I've done over 20 years that I've done it. Right? Some people just want to be heard. Some people just want to be held. And most, in my opinion, women want a healthy relationship with the masculine that they've never gotten a chance to have. Sometimes just one healthy interaction with the masculine is enough to give someone hope. Right? And for me, I think that that's what I personally, I'm not saying everybody in Kink does. I'm not saying this, that, and the other. I'm saying me. I think that that's what I do, is give somebody hope that they can express, that there's going to be somebody they can express themselves to. Hope that there's going to be somebody there that's going to be able to engage with them in a way that's deep and meaningful to them. And so sometimes I pick up some people's stuff, I get told some very big stuff. I get people share their trauma. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. Right? But that's my calling. I feel like, sometimes when those priests sit in that confessional and they hear some stuff, they have to be able to pick it up, process it, and then let it go. And sometimes it's harder. Some days are harder than others. But for the most part, this has been a beautiful journey for me, to be able to really help people express themselves in a way that's deep and meaningful and authentic to who they are. And even sometimes people, I'm a sexual assault survivor. So I'm in that space. And it took me a long time to get to this place. And sometimes you just want to hear somebody else. They go, "You really? Look at you. Like you?" Like, yeah, but I wasn't always this big. I wasn't always this strong. I didn't always have the martial arts background. So sometimes you just need to hear somebody say, "Yeah, me too." And you can find a place together like that. What are your thoughts?
I mean, it sounds to me like you're really trying, like it's like you're taking on a lot of burdens of you know what I mean. It's like you're taking on a lot of things. Yeah, in my little humble opinion, or what things that, like, I guess maybe in Christianity, right, that we're told to give to God, right, or to give to Jesus and everything like that. Like, these are things. It's like you're taking on those things for people. Which and I get, we do that. I think people do that in different ways. Like, some people are people that listen, right? Some people are people that are counselors. You know what I mean? Like, people do it in different ways, and obviously this is your way of doing it. So I'm not saying it's something that's like odd per se. it's familiar, I guess. But I don't know. I just feel like there's like, I mean, am I wrong? I mean, maybe it's there's an assumption, but basically, it seems as if you are taking on a lot of people's stuff by
I
doing.
do. I do. I
And so,
do, and it's my calling in life because I've always been this person. People have always wanted to talk to me about, even as a young person. People have always wanted to share their relational issues, their boyfriend, girlfriend things. Like I've always been the person that everybody wanted to talk to about what was going on in their relationship. I've always been that person, and there's role, identity, and archetype when it comes to shaping a human being. Like there's the role that you play within the fabric of society and the relationship, and I'm that repository for people's information about their relationship. I've always had that role. But then there's an energy that's seeking expression that actually connects with being that person, because I actually like being that person, right? And the more you identify with that, the more you're identified as that. And people say, oh, you're that type of person, or I know he's that guy. And so I've been through this whole evolution of role, archetype, identity, and I'm very comfortable with being this person. I'm very comfortable with being this person with other people, right? And that's what psychologists do, and this is what therapists do, and this is what some doctors do, and counselors. Nobody knows why we do it, but this is just who we are. I would be doing it whether I was getting paid for it or not.
like,
And
I mean, well, I'm sure you find a way to find balance with it. I mean, I'm sure you don't just.
yeah, I'm a Buddhist. Letting go is a part of the process.
Right.
And like I told you before, it's not that Buddhists don't say you can't believe in Jesus, Jehovah, Yahweh, Allah. They don't say that you can or cannot. So there's lots of people who are Christians and Buddhists, but I don't not believe in quote unquote God at all. I'm not atheist. And so there is a strong spiritual narrative that does support what it is that I do, because one of the callings that I have within my work is to help people find spirituality within the context of their emotional relationship and their intimate relationship. That people are spiritual in the pews, but not in the bedroom, right?
Yeah.
I'm just saying. So it's like, why not take it? Why not carry it into that space too? And so for me, that's something that I look forward to doing and working with people.
Yeah, and my apologies. I didn't mean to.
It's all good. It's all
In the way
good.
I did. I think I rolled my eyes. I didn't mean to roll my eyes. No,
It's all
I
good.
no, because I was trying to process like how I was trying to ask you. You're like, oh yeah, whatever. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, don't even.
We good.
Anyway,
We good. We always good.
look, this is so like I feel like this is the most probably unprofessional interview I've done on GSL. So
I like your
thanks.
interviews. I wouldn't have came back if I didn't. I like how you are with me. You know what I mean?
This guy, man. Tell y'all, I can't get that done. You know what I'm saying? Well, like I said, yes, I hope that overall you find a balance with that. I hope that it's not something that, it's gonna overwhelm you for trying to like take on everybody's stuff. It seems like you're taking on a lot of people's stuff. So it's like, all right, well, but I was like I said, you probably go on vacation, you probably, find ways to all I hear is that you going out and you just being this person. So I'm like,
Right,
all right,
right. I hear you.
anywho. Look, he trying to be. No, I say, nah, I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there. See, you got me joking. And okay, here we go. Last question.
Go for
What
it.
last thing that was said? Okay,
Uh-oh.
first of all, I'm laughing because if my mom was watching this, then she knows already what just happened. Basically, I tried to read something and I couldn't really understand my own handwriting. And it's something I do a lot on my podcast on the Juice, the Daily Inspiration, which I know you don't listen to because you don't watch nothing or listen to nothing. But anyway, I do Daily Inspiration, and I'll be writing down in this journal, my anyway, and I'll write fast and whatever, and then I'll be like reading it on the podcast and be like, and I'll pause because I
use your vowels, sound it out slowly.
So I just did it just now, and I'm like, I know she's laughing at me right now. She's laughing. Hey, Ma. Hey, Ma. Okay. uh, bondage. Oh, okay, I know what she was saying. Okay, whew. All right. Bondage dungeons are venues for trafficking. Um, I
Hmm.
believe this was said in a mix of I guess you were saying that you teach in them or something. I guess according to your websites or something like. And so she was saying that bondage dungeons are venues for trafficking.
Okay. Let me be sensitive to the person who's saying this. I'm not saying that any establishment is not. I'm not saying that a swing club or a Playboy mansion or a sex dungeon uh, is not used for that. I don't know of one that is. I have never seen one that has been rated for that. I have never been in the space where that was there. And I'm not saying that someone didn't do a front for that. I have no idea. I'm not going to say that you're wrong because anytime you say any, every, and all, you're wrong. Okay. That being said, if you felt like that, you would also have to say every nail salon, because that's where you'd also find sex traffic workers, hair salons, right? But we still frequent those, you know what I mean? So resorts, especially in, once you get outside of America, right? Motels and hotels around the country, like you couldn't, anything can be used, misappropriated to do something. But hyper focusing on this doesn't make sense because it's like saying, it's like a drug dealer saying, spray paint on his back, I sell crack. You know what I mean? It's like you're going to get unwanted attention. So having a trafficking thing at a dungeon doesn't really make sense. It wouldn't really make sense to go into these spaces because these people are already having sex. They're already doing their thing. They're not looking for that. And it would already mean that it would be on the police's radar. They would be over there like you couldn't believe. All they have to hear is dungeon. Oh, they're always sex trafficking. Let's go. It would be a code word. I would think, and I don't know much about it, just from what I've looked at, every now and then over the years, I see more salons and nail shops and massage parlors that are used for sex trafficking more than anything. I've never in 21 years saw a dungeon that was used for sex trafficking or heard of one being raided for sex trafficking or anything else. Does that mean that somewhere out there is one? I don't know. I've never heard of one. Right? Wait, one more caveat. Let me also say, as a person whoever this person was, as a person who had been sex trafficked, maybe she was put in a dungeon where they were trafficked. So, maybe that is her experience. And I'm just not aware of it. And if she is, I would love to know which one that is so that as a person who has influence in this community, I could go out and be like, yo, don't use their dungeon because this person was sex trafficked out of that dungeon. You know what I mean? There's a way of going about it using the police. Okay, that's one thing. And they've done the thing, but also tell me the names of the people involved because you know what? They're probably out there in the community starting another one if it's true or if that's their experience. So if that's your experience and you do know of a place like that, let me know. And I'll find out because I'm a person with a little clout in this community. So I definitely look for that. I wouldn't want anybody going through that or supporting that, But to the best of my knowledge, I've never heard of it. And I know lots of dungeon owners, lots of them.
Well, those are all the statements that I have. Because like I said, the rest of the commentary was kind of geared more towards me, and I believe I addressed that directly, and so there's no need to hash it out.
I appreciate you. I appreciate, and again, I'm not mad or upset at anyone who expresses themselves because everyone should have the opportunity to use their voice. You know what I mean? And should have the opportunity to be heard. And this is a great way for me to hear about them and their experience and their perception of kink. And I hope that I was able to offer a take on it from the perspective of a Black person, a person who's also been a victim of sexual abuse, and also a person who is in the industry. I've done every aspect of this industry. You know what I mean? From videos to movies to teaching to education to working with couples. You know what I mean? I've made the products, I make the floggers and the collars, and I've done all of it. And thus far, I haven't seen anything that supports those statements, whether I've seen everything to the contrary, but I don't want to take away their personal experience. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, it does. I'm sorry. I guess it's just me again over here, the jokester, sitting here listening to you talking about, yeah, I've done everything. So, I mean, that's a lot of stuff for the everything category.
It is.
No judgment, though. I mean, this is GSL. No judgment. I mean,
and you can judge me all you want. I don't care in the slightest. You know, because again, for me, I love the opportunity to have choice. You know, and I've made my choices, and I choose, and I enjoy what it is I do and who I do it with, right? And that doesn't mean I'm perfect by any stretch of the imagination. And I want everybody to use their life, and I mean, use their desire to drive them, whatever that is. Some people love money, some people love fame, some people love fortune. That's something that to me is not really high on my priority list, but deep and meaningful connection with another human being always is, in whatever form that is. I'm always looking to be able to be my authentic self. And if someone wants to pay me to be myself with them, I'm with it. And if someone wants, you know, the vice versa, I'm with it too. You know, so this is about, you know, love, not just sex. You know, it's about real compassion and empathy and being human with another human being.
well, on that note,
look at you.
This can go on and on, man. I'll be over here like asking all the questions. Like, it's fine. We'll just have to have you come back again if we need to. But
it's all good. It's all good. You know what I want to talk about when we come back, if we ever get a chance to talk about this? I'd actually like to talk about spirituality and sexuality. I think would be a real fun topic, because that comes up for me a lot, but usually not in Black spaces. Only, you know, in white spaces that I usually find that's a concern. But I think it'd be fun to be able to talk about that with an audience that's spiritual innately, and also kind of archetypal narratives, because I'm actually trying to take on the Jungian establishment about their idea of archetypes in African Americans. And so that's been a big hot button conversation, because it's really going to determine how psychologists deal with African Americans in the future, as far as their historical expression and their psychological expression. So I'm really, really wanting to talk about that. Maybe we can get some good conversation going with whoever tunes in the comment section.
Okay. I mean, who knows? Maybe we can put together a panel or something like that as well. If you're saying you want to hear like multiple opinions or conversation.
Yeah. Would love that. Would love that.
Have a little panel discussion or something then, you know.
You said you was gonna have me on another one, but you didn't, so I ain't gonna say nothing about that.
And you're always, you know what, I haven't done many panels over the past year, and it's not my fault. Like the group that I have, I'll go into the group and this, well, I don't know, this is TMI, behind the scenes of GSL, behind the scenes of GSL. I get in the group, be like, hey y'all, when y'all available, X, Y, and Z, and then maybe only a couple of people respond. It's like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep doing one-on-ones. I'm like, because I want to keep the show going, like, you know. So whenever y'all ready to.
Well, I'm cool with a panel, or I'm cool with just sitting here talking to you about it, because I like you. I like your interview style. I like that you ain't so stiff and everything. And unfortunately, I think, you know, your clientele is gonna hang me on a silver platter. You know what I mean? You know, serve me up in a very specific way.
That's funny. Not like, here's the thing. I really don't get a whole lot of feedback about GSL. I mean, I believe that people are watching here and there. main commentary or the most frequent commentary that I get is like my mom, and then this guy in Australia, he'll be commenting on my the daily podcast, the daily inspiration that I do. He'll be commenting on those videos. But I don't really get much feedback about the show itself. So that's why this thing, when it did happen, it just was like, and it happened before your show even aired. That's why I was like, okay, this guy out of everybody that I interviewed. So
and I'm the most down to earth of all my friends. I'm not even the freakiest amongst my friend group. So yeah, I don't know how people were responding to me like that. I'm Mr. like nice soft rope, soft ropes, fuzzy cuffs,
Fuzzy cuffs. That's what you
fuzzy
said.
cuffs.
Oh,
Mr. Fuzzy Cuffs.
I see you, old teddy bear. Well, that's how he try to act for now, and then unless you pay him to be different, right?
Exactly. You put the money on the table, I'll be whatever you need. Ooh.
Oh, Lord, help us on today.
Get my Timbos out the closet. The Tims. I need the Tims and the flannel.
And then all of a sudden he'll come out of nowhere. Well, hey, yo, like who are you trying to be? Like I thought I was the actor over here.
I mean, yo, son. What's up, yo? Hey, you know what though? I grew. I mean, there's an aspect of that exists in everybody. You know what I mean? Because that was part of my upbringing for years. Being out in the streets, being in the hood. I grew up gangbanging and in the streets, and during the 80s and 90s, and 2000, not 2000, but 90s. I mean, that was a way of life, and so that does exist in me too. You know what I mean? And so for me to be able to talk to you in this way, where I can say, sub or stuff like that feels good actually, because you, like me, you understand sometimes you do have to code switch to be in other spaces, to be taken seriously by others. So sometimes people pay me to be able to be myself and talk with the slang or with that aggressiveness, or to keep that posture. So I enjoy it.
So he's saying that he's an actor. Yeah.
Not an actor. I'm being me.
Oh, so this is the act here then. This is the
probably,
act. But he just
probably. And this is actually a little more urban than I would be on another show, because because my diction is absolutely perfect when I go on those other shows. My vocabulary is exponential.
Why I get the little ragtag Orpheus dance?
Exactly. Well, what do you mean ragtag?
I don't know. That just came to my head. I don't even know what that is.
You ain't paying me to be nothing else other than myself right now. Trying to be me.
Mr. Orpheus, is there anything else you want to leave with us so the people on today?
You know what? If you get an opportunity, you want to come to my website, it's www.orpheusblack.com. Again, www.orpheusblack.com. We have like really fun tests to find out what your dominant archetype is. If you're a male-bodied individual, that it speaks about the father, it speaks about the king, it speaks about many different aspects of who we are on the inside and our dominant leadership type. So, those are some fun things to do. We also have different classes and different group sessions that you can do with us. If you're looking to just explore with no nudity or no anything, we could do just talk, and you can be a part of those accountability groups, and also just some talk sessions. We have a really great time. So you can go to orpheusblack.com, sign up for the mailing list, and check us out, see what you think. Support a Black man doing what he loves to do.
There you have it, everybody. That's Orpheus Black right there. Thank you so much for coming back again.
Thank you too, sweetheart. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
Ooh, that sugar sweet, you got what I need. Sipping on the potion, all that good emotion, just my kind of heat. Keep it on repeat, tested by the potion, loving this devotion. Live it up, live it up, live it up, sweet emotion. Every time.
Thank you so much to Orpheus Black for joining us tonight. I hope that you all enjoyed the conversation, and I hope that your hearts and minds are clear. And I appreciate you again, Mr. Orpheus, for being willing to, address these heavy and hard topics head on. So thank you so much again, and thank you for watching. Good night.
That I'm not the type